Ok. Y dame un segundo, creo que ya casi va a empezar. Listo.
¿Le pusiste que ya no sea una de práctica?
No, ya en YouTube ya está.
Ok, gracias. Hi, hello everyone. Okay, we are going to see the generate cost report. Just 1 second, let me just open my video and I'm going to, okay, 1 second. Okay, so we are going to start. Hello everyone, my name is Vianey Hernandez. I'm a technical support specialist at Promine. Today we are going to talk about generate cost reports. I'm a geologist. And well, first of all, I will tell you a little bit more about Promine and about us first. So the company is a Canadian company and it was established in 1993. It offers software services for the mining industry, focused on mine design, survey, and geology tools for underground mines. Our headquarters are in Quebec, and well, here you can see our webpage. Our background in clients. So we have many clients around many countries. We have a strong presence in Canada, USA, Mexico, Peru, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, and Central America and Africa. So we can see one of our clients. And well, Promine is a software solution built by mining, survey, and geology experts. And it is an extension of Autodesk AutoCAD software and providing additional functionality specifically oriented towards the mining industry or focus in the development of technology for underground mines, survey, as well as mining geology. So what is Promine? We have many categories. When we start, I'm going to show you a little bit more the software. Well, we have the categories of essentials when we have like the basic tools, modeling, engineering, surveying, and projects that it's more focused to geology. So we are going to start our course. And 1 second, just let me share the other screen. Okay. So as you know, Promine works with CAD. 1 second, just let me hide this. Okay. So as you know, Promine works with AutoCAD, but we can also work with BricsCAD. So we have another option now to work with Promine. And today I'm going to do this free course with this software so you can see like how it works. So in the chat, just 1 second, I'm going to share with you the drawings we are going to be working with. So if you want to do this at the same time with me, you can just download it, or you can do it later just to practice. And well, I'm going to show you a little bit of Promine. So as I told you, we have many categories. The first one is essentials, when we have a filer to have our layers, grid, section, and well, the basic ones. In modeling, we have different tools depending on the information that you have in your mind. And for engineering 1 and engineering 2, we have things like drift design, drift blast underground, mine planning, survey, drift drilling and blasting, and much more, of course. We also have live survey, that is, of course, for survey. And we have projects that is more oriented to geology. So today what we are going to see is how to manage your cost in the mining. So we know that after determining the rate of production, the total cost of the underground mine encompass things like the underground developments, the equipments, the labor, and supply costs for production. So we have to consider all these daily operation costs, and of course for the development. And Promine helps you to get this cost in each stage of your mine. So we are going to show you where you can get your costs. So for example, we are going to start with engineering 1 in mine planning, because well, the initial stage is to focus in the preliminary design, mainly on how to access the ore body. So that's why we're going to start with mine planning, and it's the one that talks the more about cost. So we are going to focus mainly on this one, but we have many other modules that talk about cost. So here is our drawing, the one that we are going to work with. So we already have our stops in here, and we already have this drift for the development of our mine. But we are going to add more, and we are going to get the cost of this one. So in our initial stage, we will have this access, and then, well, yeah, this one, and then we will have this small access to go to our stoves. So the first thing that we have to do in this module, well, if you have any question, please write it on the chat, and if you want, I can do the exercise again, or well, I can explain you more specifically. Or yeah, if you have any question, just write it in the chat and I will read it. So first we're going to start with mine planning, and the first thing that you have to consider to work with this module is option, because here you have to set your costs, because it's of course always different. We're going to start with resources. And resources is the type of things that are going to last longer. For example, we have in here jumbos, we have scoop, we have a mixer. So if we go to this one and we are going to click in edit, we will have the description, in this case that it's the name, the availability, and the cost per day. Just 1 second. Okay, so we have the cost per day for these specific resorts. We can add new ones, of course, and these are the ones that we are going to select when we are creating a task or a mining block. So it is really important that you create all your resources in this area and select the availability and the cost per day. So now we go to material, and the difference between materials and resources is that materials are like small things or things that can be used only once, that we are going to work with it with units. So for example, we have here the rock bolt, and we can see that the cost per unit is going to be 6. Remember that 6 could be anything, like it could be if you're working with euros, it is going to be that. If you're working with dollars, it is going to be that. Like you're not going to have a sign, it's just the cost in any unit. So again, you can add in here new ones, and you will have to select these things depending on the task that you are doing or the mining block that you are mining. Then we have the categories that it's more focused to CapEx and OpEx, but of course it depends on how you work with that. It could be capital 1 or capital 2. And this is just for, well, it's just information. When you click in edit, the only thing that you can add is the text, but it's going to be shown in some of the blocks that we are going to insert. After that, we have the destinations. And for the destinations, we have in this case, like where the mineral is going after that. So for example, whatever we get from this part of the development, it's going to go to the backfill directly. So these are going to be the destinations that you have. And the things that we are going to change in here is nothing related with cost. but we have the maximum tonnage that this destination can get in a day. So for example, in this one is 1,000 per day. And we also have the location with the coordinates in here. So again, you can add all your destinations, and this is something that we are going to use later to tell the program or your drawing where it is going after. So this is just to plan like everything in your mind. And that's why it is important to do this before, because everything depends on what you have on your mind, your resources, your materials, your destinations, and the categories that you are working with. As you know, like you can add anything, like it's not close to just one option. You can add the option that you want, and it is going to appear in there. Now we have the trip types that it's going to be, for example, development for our first access, or we could use ramps, refuge, stop access, and well, you can add any that you have in your mind. So right now we are working with the development. So I'm going to click in edit. And here we can see that we will have the specification of this type of drift. So we have the height, the width, and well, of this kind of drift. And we will have the advance per day. Like it could be different. Well, you can change it in here. The density of this rock and the cost per meter. So for any time we select that it is a development, the cost is going to be this one per meter, but it is going to, of course, consider more things. So for example, here we have the things that we are going to use to do this drift in our mind. So for example, here we said that we are going to use a jumbo and a scissor. So when we click in jumbo, we're going to, well, we can only add the ones that we created in this area of resources. So once we select it, it is going to be added in here. And remember that it is going to consider the cost that you set in this part of the resources. And in materials is the same. You have like all the options that you have in that you created in material. And you have to set how many you need. So for example, we are going to select this rock bolt, and we can see that we need 2 rock bolts per length. So it is going to calculate it automatically with the information that you give in this line. So it is going to show us the length of this line. So the program is going to calculate how many rock bolts it needs. So in here we said that we need 2 rock bolts per length, but it could be per tonnage or in total or per day. So it just depends on what you need. And you can again add the materials that you added in this size. So now we will go back to this part and we will see the mining blocks. We're going to click in this one. And we're going to see the description is just the name. As you can see, it is 110, and here the tonnage per day says 100. So this is just a text. It could be like anything. It doesn't have to be specifically the tonnage that you have. As you can see here, it's not the same that we have in tonnage per day. And then we will have the cost per tonnage of this mining block. You have to set the program where this material is going after it is mined. So for example, we can see that here we have stockpile waste, and that's because in this kind of mining block, we are going to have a grade of gold that it's going to be 1 and silver 1. Okay, so that's why it is going to this one. But if we select another one, let's see if in here we have something else. Okay, so for example, in here we have silver for 12 grams per tonnage, and we can select that it is going to the mill. So we can set the description, the tonnage per day, the cost per tonnage, the materials that we are going to use. Again, we can select the ones that we added before, and how many we need, and per day, per ton, or in total for the whole mining block. And in the left, we are going to see this show attributes. So this is because every time we insert a task or a mining block, it is going to show some information. So in this case, in the case of this mining block, it is going to show us the name, the duration of this mining block, the start date, the end date, and the tonnage. Okay, so we can add all these things. And we will go back. And now we have task types. In this case, we have things like fans, brace, stop, and safety bay. So for example, if we go to one, we can see that we have to set the description as always, and we have to set the cost per day. So for example, to this fan, the cost per day is going to be 2,000. And this is just the size of this block that is going to be inserted when we select a specific task. And we can select the category that it is part of, like capital 1, CAPEX, OPEX, and capital 2. That's, again, just information. And it's also something that we can add in this small report that this block is going to get. In this case, I only have selected name, duration, start date, and end date. In this part, we can also add our resources. And in this case, I only have that one, but I could add any other one. And the materials that we are going to use, the quantity, and if it is going to be in total, per length, or per day. In the case of this fan, is going to be in total. So this is the main part where you can set the configuration for your mine. This is something that you have to do before working with this module. And well, remember that you can save this configuration and you can load it later if you are working with different configurations. So I'm going to stop a little bit in here. Do you have any questions? Yes, Gabriela, could you please write it in the QA part? Or in the chat is okay. Okay, remember that if you are doing it with me, you can just ask me to repeat one part or... Okay, so I will repeat. Gabriela is telling us that she didn't get the function of resources, category, and destination. Okay, so resources is the things that you are going to have as an equipment. So this equipment is, for example, jumbo or a mixer. Like it's something that you are going to have just there as an equipment in your mine. So as you know, a material, for example, a rock bolt, is something that you can use only once. Like you use it and that's it. So for example, if you are mining this part, you are going to use like just one jumbo and one mixer or one of these one. But in materials, you are working with units. So you need 2 rock bolts per length. Okay, so the difference between resources and materials is this is equipment that is already part of the mine. And the material is something that we're going to use per unit. And once we use it, it's going to be done. Like it's going to be part of the mine. You can reuse it. So the resources is the equipment that we have. And here we can set the cost per day of these ones. Okay, and 1 second. So now categories is, this is something that the mines do different. They can work with CAPEX and OPEX. And one of them is like this is related to money. So the way it is spending the money? Like, are you doing it to get resources, or is it giving you money? So that's why the category could be like any of them. I don't know if it is the same way in every country, but at least here they almost everywhere use capex and opex, but this is just related to money. It's the way you work with that. They could work in a different way, for example, with capital 2 and capital 1 and 2. But this is just referring about how you how the money is going. Like, are you spending the money to make this bigger? Are you getting money from this? It's just related to money. It can depend on any and very things. So as I told you, it's just the text. It's not something specific. It's just information that is related to money. But yeah, I cannot tell if it's like that way in every country, but at least here we use capex and opex. But it depends on the mine. And the destination is where the rocks are going. So when you are mining this area, for example, where is it going? Well, it could be to the backfill because you don't have any grade in here. Or, for example, if you are mining this block that we have in here and the grades aren't that good, we can just send it to the stockpile waste. So we use this thing because you couldn't send more than that. So specifically, for example, to a mill, this is the quantity that we can send there. Like, we cannot send more than 1,000 per day. So this is for you to manage your resources. That, like, if you know that you already sent this quantity to a mill, you cannot send more. So the destinations is just where the minerals or the rocks that you are mining are going to. They could go to any of these destinations, or, well, if you have more in your mind, they could go to another one, but it's just to see where it is going after that. So you can, like, organize your resources. So that's in general that. So just to explain a little bit more, category is just the way it works with the money. It's just about money. And resources is the equipment. Destination is where the rock is going after we mine it. So that's in general that. And well, I hope I answered your question. If not, please let me know and we can see later. But for now, I will continue. Okay. So another important thing of here is that you have to consider the days that you're not working, because the program is going to calculate the days that you are working and the days that you are not working. So, for example, we're going to add one calendar. For example, I have in here the free course. And we're going to say that in 2023, we are not working on January the 1st because it's New Year. And we are not working once. It could be a weekly or monthly, but we're going to select only once, and we're going to select 25th, and that's because it's Christmas. And in the month, it's going to be December. So when the program calculates how many days it is going to take you to do a specific task, it is going to calculate it with these days, that it is not going to consider these days. And it is really important because it means or you are not going to spend money because you are not using the resources, or you are not getting anything because you are not mining. So it is important to consider the costs. So this is how you can create your calendars to add the days that you are not working, because this is the only place where you can tell the program to not consider those days. Otherwise, it is going to consider it, and we are going to have different costs that, yeah, doesn't fit with what we have in the mind. Well, these parts are just the way the dates are worked, their conditions, and in general, this is the most important part, including calendars. And you can also set the grade of your drift as a default. You can change it later. But for example, in here we have a grade of -2 to be able to bring all the water of the mine to this side. And we can also set the drift radius. Every mine work with a different radius. So for example, we are going to work in here for a 12 one. And I'm going to click in OK. Once we configure that, we can start with our mine. And the first thing, as you can see here, I already inserted some access to our stove, but we are going to insert a new one in here. I'm going to click on drift, and I'm going to go from here to this block. We're hitting enter, and now we're going to get this window. So we are going to call it access. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. And we select the type. In this case, it's a development. We are not getting any ore. We are just creating this drift for the development of the mine. And we can use the default rate, that is 2 meters per day, or we can just change it from here. If we unselect this one, we can change it, but we are going to keep that one. And for grades, we don't have any grades yet, because again, we are still in this development part, just creating the access. And now we have to set, this is really important, we have to set the predecessors. So for example, in this part, we have a date type that is as soon as possible or start on. So if we select start on, we don't need any predecessor, and we have to say when we're going to start with this drift. But in this case, after we're done with the first axis, we are going to continue with the axis 5. So I'm going to click on pick. We can also click on add and select it from here. So we have the stop axis Tahoe 2, stop axis 3, stop axis 200, and stop axis 100. In this case, I'm going to click in pick, and I'm going to select this axis. We're hitting enter, and we can click in here. 1 second, I'm going to select it again. We're going to select this one. Okay. So once we select our predecessor, that it's going to be axis 1, that is this one, it is going to give us the option to start as soon as possible. So as soon as this part is done, this axis is going to start. So it is going to show us the length. So the length for this axis is 31.6. And calculating that with everything, it is going to start on February the 2nd. I'm sorry, February the 9th, and the end date is going to be March the 2nd. So it is going to last 21 days. Okay, so with all this information, it is going to do the calculation for this the cost for this access. So I'm going to select our calendar, the one that we just selected, and remember that we can change the start elevation if that's not where we want to start, or the end elevation. The grade, this is the one that we set in options for a default value, but we can change it in here. We're just going to keep that one. We click on OK. And now here is our first drift. Do you have any questions for now? Okay, so we are going to continue then. 1 second. Okay, So what we are going to insert now is a task. As you can see, every time we click in insert, we get this window when we can insert many things. In this case, I'm going to insert a task. And these are the tasks that we set before in options. I'm going to select a fund. And we are going to set the position of this block that I told you that we will get. It's going to be here. And we're going to call it fund. We're going to select the predecessor that it's going to be this axis. So when we're done with this axis, we are going to start with this fund. And how many days is it going to take us to do that? I'm going to set just 1. And well, so now we can see that it is going to start on March the 2nd, and it is going to be done by March the 3rd. It is going to last 1 day. So it is going to make the calculation. So we can see here that we cannot change this value. The cost per day for this kind of task is going to be 2,000. Okay, so that's all we can change. We're going to click in OK, and these are the annotations that we are going to get that we can select from options. So now I'm going to insert a new task. We are going to set stop support in here, and our predecessor is going to be this axis. We could select our fan, so it will start after this fan is done, but we are going to select our axis, so they start working with our stop support at the same time they start with the fan. So we are going to call it stop support. And the duration for this one is going to be 2 days. We already selected our predecessor, and that's all we can change. It is going to be started on March the 2nd, and it will be done on March the 4th. So it is going to take us 2 days. I will reset in here. And the cost per day again is in this part. So we're going to click in OK, and we will get our block. So as you can see, the task blocks are going to be pink. That is something you can change in options, but this is for you to see which one is a task and which one is a mining block, because now we're going to insert a mining block. And we are going to select this one that it's 200. I'm going to select it. And we are going to say stop 1. Our predecessor is not going to be access 1 now, because it is going to start when we are done with our stop support. So we click in here, and our predecessor is going to appear in this part. And we can change the default rate or not. In this case, it's 200 per day. And now we have our tonnage. We could just set the tonnage in here, or if we have our blocks, like in this case, we can just click in here, pick the volume, select our block that we're going to mine. Well, in this case, it's this one, it's not this one. Second, I'm going to do that again because I selected the incorrect one. We are going to delete this block, and I'm going to select our mining block. We are going to start with it on when we are done with the stop support, and it is going to be called stop support, and our tonnage is going to be from this block. We select our block that of course has the information about the volume, and now when we can set the density in here. We can change the density. Or if the block has already the density, we can just click in from blocks, and it is going to take the density of this block from blocks in a mesh. In this case, I'm not sure if it has the density in this block, so I will just set the 2.7. And when we click on OK, it is going to calculate our tonnage. So that's all we have to do. We are going to set our grade. So for example, in here we have silver, that it's going to be 12 grams per tonnage. And we see that it is going to take us 62 days with this rate per day and with this for this tonnage. Okay, so it will be done by May the 4th. So we're going to select our calendar, but yeah, we don't have like any day off during this time, so it's going to be okay. But anyway, I'm going to select it, and then we click on OK. So we'll get the information in here, the name of the task that is going to be, well, in this case, is a mining block, and it's going to be stop support. Oh, this wasn't supposed to be a stop support. This is mining block. We click on OK, and now we change the name with this one that could work for these mining blocks, the task, or the drifts, with any of them. Okay, 1 second. So now we have here our mining block. As you can see, this is yellow, so we can see which one is a task and which one is a mining block. We see that it is going to last 62 days and that it is going to start on March the 4th, and it is going to be done on May the 4th. Okay, so here we will have all the information that we set in options. So just really quickly, I'm going to insert a new task in this area. And I'm going to set our processor. And this is a stop support. And we click on OK. Oh, 1 second. The duration is going to be 2 days. And okay, so now, well, you can insert as many tasks and as many mine blocks as you want. And you can also set different drifts. Okay, so this is what you have to do if you have time later. You can do it for the other accesses, so you can have a bigger report. So now we will go to what we were looking for, our cost report. We will go to this part, the reports, and we have many options, as you can see in here. We can see the advance, we can see the grades, how it is going through time, the resources, the material that we are using, the tonnage, a Gantt chart. In this case, we are going to work with costs. So I'm going to select that one. We click on OK, and we can select our drifts, task, and mining blocks. We click on Enter, and we're going to see a division weekly. And we can get a graph or a file to export. So I'm going to select a graph so you can see our graph. And here we have our graph. When we get closer, we can see in this part our dates. So we can see January the 1st. That is the time that we are going to start. And we can see our cost compared to the time. So from January the 1st to February the 5th, we are going to be just with access one, and the cost is going to be around 5,800, more or less. And then we are going to start, because remember I told you that as soon as we are done with this access, we are going to start with all these ones. So that's why they are at the same time, and that's why we have an increment of the cost when we start working with the new accesses. And here you can also see, for example, your stop support, that it's going to take just a little bit of time, and it is not going to increase that much in time, because, well, talking about money, because it's not that expensive, it's just a task. But compared to our mining block that is in here, we know that it's a big tonnage, and it's going to take us 62 days. And of course, the cost is going to increase in this part. But also our stop support is that we created in this part is going to be at the same time that we have our mining block and our stop support. So as you can see here, it is useful to see where you are spending the most money. Remember that mine planning is done before we start with the production. So this is just to see if this is a good plan, or you have to change something. For example, if you see that you cannot spend that much money in this part, you can just set this mining block when we are done with all our tasks. So we are not going to have like this part in here. So this is a mind planning. So do you have any question? Do you want me to explain something again? Yes, Gabriela. Okay, we're going to wait. Well, while we get the question, please open the next drawing that it's going to be the RI. Okay, the slope support is, well, I don't know if you are a mining engineer or a geologist or something like that, but for example, remember that when we are working with our ore body, we are going to work with stopes, okay? So just 1 second. Yeah, so we are going to work with our stope that we already designing here. But as you can see in here, we have this block and we have this block. So what is going to happen if we block this block and then we block this one? So of course, this part is going to fall. So what we have to do is to create this stope support so that this part doesn't fall before starting mining this block. We have to do like things like the stope support or the rock balls. And well, it depends on the techniques that you use at the mine, but it's in general because these kind of mining processes are difficult because of that, because you have a block in here, another block in here, and you want to block in, I don't know if you remember this, but you divide your stop with the primary ones and the secondary ones. So once we are done mining this part, we are going to mine this part. It's not that in this case, the ore body is not like in all the area. It's because you have to mine one line first, and then this one, and when you are done with all of them, you use a backfill to support all this area and start mining the other parts. So you are going to mine all the ore body, but you can't just do it one by one. You have to create the support so the mine doesn't fall. So in general, is that to support your mine for this like type of mining. Thank you for your questions. And we are going to, well, that's it for mine planning. But if you still have questions, just write it in there. And we will be back when we are done with the other modules. So now what we have to do after in our mind is to drill. So for that, we will go to our module called Drill Blast Underground. And here we have our drifts and our ore body, and we already created the plan to drill it. So I will go to one of our sections so we can see in here, select our section. We are going to go to this one. And well, this is not a report that we are going to use. I'm going to delete this one. And here we have our drift with our pivot line, well, with our drifts, the blasting contour, and we already have the holes with the pivot line. Okay, so remember that this course is focused to costs reports, but we also have some courses specifically for how to do the drill blast on the ground. In this case, we already have this part, and what we are going to do is to create this report. So to do that, we will have to go to options, and we go to customize reports. Once we are here, we're going to click in Stop Summary. And we are going to create one that is going to be called course. And we select our total cost for loading and drilling. We can also select our explosives, our total tonnage, and well, you have more options. We're going to click in OK. Clicking OK and OK. So here, where can we set our costs? In this first window, we have the cost of drilling length, that in this case, I selected 7, and the cost of loading length per length. So we have in here 1, but that's not all, because remember that we are working with explosives. So for that, we will go to this window called explosives. We are going to select our explosives, and here we can set the cost. Of course, this is not a real cost, but well, in here we are considering one. And here we're going to set all the information of our explosive, the density, the RWS, the weight, and the cost. So we can do that for all our explosives. And once we set those values, we can go back and load our holes, because I already have the holes, but they are not loaded yet. So we are going to load it with this command called load holes. We click on that. And now we can select our explosive. Of course, we can select if it is going to have a plug and where it is going to have a plug. If we want to set stage explosives, or if we want a bottom load, a second bottom load, and if we want to add boosters. In this case, we can select like any explosive, and as you can see in the bottom part, we can see our drill, so you can see how it is being loaded. And we're going to use, for example, no, we're not going to use that one. Yeah, let's just work with emotion. And now we're going to use boosters, and it is going to be, we are going to set the position. So in the position number 2, we're going to get these boosters, and now the 4th and the 6th. So as you can see, it is going to be refreshing this. We can, in this case, we don't see the 3 ones because we have a default length of 5, and I'm sure the length is bigger than that. But I don't know which one is the length, so I'm just going to set it in there. And we can also change the color depending on the depth of these boosters. But well, for now, we're just focused on cost, so I'm just going to keep that one. We're going to click in OK. We're going to hit enter, so it is going to start loading them from the color. And we're going to select our holes. We hit in enter, and here we have our holes. As you can see, the length is bigger than 5 because we only got these 3, and I selected 2, 4, and 6. But well, here are our holes. And now we are going to click in this command called Stop Summary. We hit in that one, and we select our entities. Once we are in here, we are going to select the report that we just created. We can like set different things in here that we had in options. For example, the drilling cost and the loading cost per meter. We're going to click in OK. And here it is telling me that the holes that are not loaded are going to be treated as though they are loaded with the default explosives. I'm going to say OK. Okay, just one second. Let me just do it again. We're hitting this part, and we're going to select this one. Okay, 1 second. We select our course. Okay, here is our report, and it is going to show the total cost for loading and drilling, and it is going to be 495 just for this area. And the explosive that we are using, that is emotion, the kilograms that we are using, that it's going to be 425, and the total tonnage, that it's going to be 143. So this is how we generate a cost report in Drill Blast Underground. Do you have any question about this module, how to generate a cost report? Okay, in the meantime, please open the drawing called DDB. And well, this is the next step in a mine, like to drill but in horizontal. As you can see here, we have our drift, and we have our drill holes that are already loaded. These red lines show you that they are loaded. So if you don't have any questions about the other module, we are going to continue with this one. And well, yeah, you can see here the drift, and you can see here the design of your holes. Okay, so here you can see that some of them are loaded, and we are going to see how to generate a cost report for this this kind of drilling. To do that, we will go to Engineering 2 in drift drilling and blasting, and we are going to go to Options as always. And we are going to create a new one that is going to be called Horrors. And here we have the options that we can add to our report. In this case, we are going to add the total drilling cost. And we can also add the tonnage, the total meter drilled. And well, that's all that we are going to insert. So now we are going to click in OK. And the last report that we are going to insert is in here, that is called report. We select our report that we just created. We select our drilling limit. What is going to be our drilling limit? It's going to be, in this case, our drift. This green line, because this is the limit for our drilling. So we select this one and we hit in enter. Oh, 1 second. I think I didn't select it. So we will go back to course. And we're going to select this one. Okay, 1 second. I have to do that. Remember that you can see here the instructions, which I didn't see. So we are going to select the course. And now we select the drilling limit. And now it is asking us to select our entities. The entities are going to be these drills that we have in here. We hit in enter. And here is going to be our report. So our report is going to tell us the total drilling cost, that it's going to be 3,283. And the tonnage, the total one, that it's going to be 147. And the total meters drill, that is 328 meters. So those are the ways we can insert reports related with cost. The ones that are like more related to these kind of reports is mine planning, of course, because you in the mine consider the cost before you are in the mine. Like before you start the mine, you plan it. And here you can set all your costs, the task that you have to do before drilling a stope, and well, all of that kind of things. And well, that will be all for today. Do you have any questions? Yeah, we'll just wait a little bit in case that you are doing this process with me. Remember that you can ask for a trial license so you can work with this, or if you are already our client and you don't have one of these modules, you can also contact us and we can give you a trial license for that module in specific. But yeah, if you want a trial license for all the program, please contact us and we can give you one so you can practice with the drawings that I share with you. And you can also get a certificate to be in this course. We are just going to ask you a few questions. And well, that's all. So, well, if no one has any question, then thank you for joining this course. And if you have any question, contact us at clientsupport@promine.com. Sure, please contact us, Gabriela. So I will just type the answer. clientsupport@promine.com. Please contact us at this email and we are going to send you a trial license so you can practice with our drawings. And well, thank you for joining and have a good day. Bye.